Hello, everybody. My name is Hannah Butler, and today I'll be presenting my research titled Lights, Camera, After School Action, Student Responses to a Documentary Filmmaking Club. My research is situated within the UCLA Department of Community Engagement and Social Change, and I'd like to thank my faculty mentor, Dr. Zach Ritter. First, I'll be giving a brief introduction to the guiding principles of this research and the significance of the research questions as they pertain to social change. This research will follow a community-based participatory research model. And this model of research prioritizes equitable partnership between the researcher and the community in which they are performing the research. Communication between researcher and community members aims to align research questions so that they address issues that are important and relevant to that community as reported by the community members. Accordingly, the results of this research should be shared clearly with all stakeholders, including the community members, and ideally, findings should address the goals of both the researcher and the community members. So for this research, I've partnered with the UCLA Community Youth Programs, which is a branch of UCLA Center for Community Engagement that seeks to use university resources to aid Los Angeles youth in their transition to adulthood. They currently operate after-school programs at 10 Los Angeles Unified School District schools through a contract with Beyond the Bell. And school site coordinators at each of these schools works with college students who act as program leaders for these after-school activities. So community youth program leadership at 2 LAUSD high schools has given me the opportunity to design an after-school program focused on documentary filmmaking, and student responses to this program will be the focus of this research. So why teach documentary filmmaking, and why did I choose documentary filmmaking as the focus of the after-school program that I'm leading? This is an important topic to explore because there's a large body of literature supporting the idea that teaching filmmaking skills can be a tool for empowering and supporting communication by historically marginalized communities. And here I've identified 3 key reasons that teaching documentary filmmaking could be effective at invoking social change through that avenue. So firstly, encouraging filmmaking on the local level evades the politics of Hollywood film industry, where there is a systemic lack of representation, which is difficult and slow to overcome. Secondly, people are uniquely able to represent something that they have lived experience with. So transferring filmmaking skills can provide insight towards marginalized points of view that have historically not been seen on the screen. Lastly, studies have shown that after participating in a documentary filmmaking process, youth have reported feelings of responsibility to create positive change in their communities, as well as an increased confidence in their ability to do so. And while these 3 tenets do apply to people of all ages and backgrounds, this research explores specifically the potential for educating teenagers because we have access to them through this after-school programming. And young people right now are highly technologically literate. Most of them possess a device that can shoot, edit, and distribute films in their iPhones or smartphones. And we've seen that Generation Z is uniquely politically motivated. The guiding research questions of this study have been written in collaboration with leadership from CYP. And CYP leadership were interested in learning more about the effectiveness of their after-school programs, as well as gaining any knowledge that they could that could be used to increase student engagement with after-school programming. Student engagement with their after-school programming is something that they constantly seek to improve, as student participation is voluntary and requires that they stay several hours after the typical school day. So accordingly, we have 2 research questions. The first is, does participating in the filmmaking club program impact students' feelings of empowerment, and specifically their feelings about their ability to impact their community? And second, what opportunities and obstacles are associated with engaging students in the filmmaking process during an after-school program? So now I'll be giving a brief overview of the methodology that's being used to conduct this research. This study is being conducted at two LAUSD schools, Jefferson High School and Nava College Preparatory Academy, which are both located in South Los Angeles, and they currently share a temporary campus due to construction being carried out on both school sites. And this means that students from both schools were able to participate in filmmaking club together. Student participants in this study voluntarily chose to participate in filmmaking club on a day-to-day basis, which was advertised to them using flyers and in-class announcements about a week before the club started. This is a brief overview of the filmmaking club curriculum. So it was designed within the 6-week structure that all CYP after-school programs typically follow. And we start with an introductory filmmaking exercise and icebreakers during week 1. During week 2, students watch examples of different documentary film styles and identify elements that they'd like to include in their own film project. During week 3, they plan, conceptualize, and design a timeline for their personal film projects so that during week 4 and 5, they can efficiently create those film products. And by week 6, they will have a finished product to screen at a screening party with friends, family, and teachers. Data for this research is being collected via 3 avenues. The first is field observations, which are collected by the researcher after each filmmaking club meeting. The second is a focus group, which will focus on the impacts of the filmmaking club from the students' perspectives. And this focus group will be held at the conclusion of the program after week 6. And lastly, the participatory films themselves that the students create will be used to triangulate our findings from the other avenues of data. So this research is still ongoing and the conclusion of the program has not yet been reached. And while we can't fully analyze data until the conclusion of the program, I do have some preliminary findings that I'd like to share with you today. So as it pertains to research question number 1, which explores empowerment of students, we've found that the ambitions of the students have evolved from initially replicating film forms that they've seen on social media platforms to more unique ideas, which have included explicitly engaging with their community and expressing their own points of views, which they feel have been marginalized. Secondly, we have seen students developing a practical skill set, including editing skills, using film equipment, conceptualizing ideas, as well as planning out logistical details. And research in the field of child psychology has identified skill set development as a critical tenet of youth empowerment. So moving on to research question number 2, which pertains to the obstacles and opportunities associated with using the after-school program to deliver a filmmaking curriculum. We've seen that engagement has increased and become more self-motivated with students over time and less reward-based. We've seen that school jurisdiction has slightly limited the project content for these films. We've seen that student collaboration increases their engagement with the filmmaking process. And lastly, we've seen that transitioning from the ideation phase to the production phase of filmmaking is most challenging for students and requires the most intervention from program leaders. And I'm excited to share my final findings with you in June after the conclusion of the filmmaking club program. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. And a special thank you to everybody listed on this screen for supporting this research and consulting with me about the curriculum design for Filmmaking Club. And thank you so much.